who's back? Hello class, it's me again, Sir Renz. For our lesson 2, you will be identifying materials that float and sink. Before we start, let us go back to the activity that we did in our previous lesson. Can you still recall it? What do you remember about the lesson? Very good! Last time, we talked about the materials that absorb water. Can you tell which material absorb water and which does not? You got it right! The sponge absorbs water. It is an example of porous materials. They have small holes that allow air or liquid to pass through. And the plastic bag is an example of non-porous materials, which means they do not allow air or liquid to pass through. Have you ever tossed some sticks into a pond? Or maybe you like to bring a bunch of toys into the tub. Either way, you probably found that not all objects act the same when they're in the water. Some things sink right into the bottom, and other things float onto the top. Why does that happen? What are some other things that float and sink in the water? This calls for an experiment. The materials that we need are container with water, a plastic bottle, a coin, straw, a leaf, metal spoon, stick, some pebbles, a rubber ball, nail, and a plastic fork. All we need to do is to put the materials one at a time in the water and let us all observe if the material will float or sink. And also, observe the characteristics of the materials before we place them in the water. Based on the activity that we did, let's try to answer these questions. What did you observe when we place the materials one at a time in the water? Some things float on top and some things sink. Based on the activity, which of the materials sank? The metal spoon, the coin, the pebbles, and the nail sank in the water. Which of the materials floated? The plastic bottle, the stick, straw, the leaf, the rubber ball, and the plastic fork floated on the water. Look at the group of objects that floated. Compare them. Is there anything common among each one? The materials that floated are made up of plastic or wood. They are light in weight, that's why they float. Look at the group of objects that sank. What can you say about them? The materials that sank are mostly heavy and hard. They are made up of metal and stone. Now, let me remind you these. Sink means to fall to the bottom of water. Float means to stay on top. Some things float on the top of water. Some things stay submerged partway down, and some things sink. Some things sink very fast, and some things sink very slowly. An object's shape can affect its ability to float, but some materials float no matter what their shape, such as styrofoam and balsa wood. Very good! It seems that you really understand their lesson. Great job! And that is all for today. Again, this is me, Sir Renz. Goodbye, class!